You probably all remember 2014, where the algal bloom in Lake Erie was so bad that Toledo's water supply was not drinkable, and people had to buy bottled water for 2 or 3 days. And Greg was telling me that in some parts near Cleveland, all the water was gone because people were buying it. But in other parts of Cleveland, the shelves were full because people couldn't afford to buy bottled water. So this is what really motivates me in terms of working on this problem. And in recent weeks, I've asked myself, are we going to have enough drinking water in the future for the 11 million people who rely on the Great Lakes? Each of this question sort of represents what I see as an onslaught on Lake Erie, not by individuals, but by kind of corporate forces outside our control. So for example, does the right of heavy industry to dump pollutants into the lake supersede our right to swim and to boat and to fish? Does the right of shipping companies to dump ocean bilge water into the lake supersede our right to have a lake free of invasive species? Does the right of the agricultural industry and concentrated animal feeding operations to dump their waste into our streams and into our lake supersede our right to have a lake that's free of algal bloom? Does the right of the natural gas industry to frack and then let that drilling fluid seep into our streams and eventually into our lake supersede our right to have clean water? And finally, does the right of a national corporation to take 130 million gallons of water from Lake Erie annually, despite the opposition from 80,000 people, does that supersede our right to have ample drinking water? Each person in my group has a similar sort of cause that drew them to this movement. You know, it's a feeling that we have lost our influence on things that happen directly to us. To us, in the grassroots, a corporation, it's an entity or it's an invention of government. A corporation has legal rights because we, through government, have given corporations legal rights. For the last 100 years, the courts systematically have reified corporations by manipulating the meaning of words to the helm of personhood. But corporations are not people, and they do not have human rights. We've given corporations undue power to influence elections and public policy, but have demanded little in return. Why have we given corporations free rein to use our natural and public resources without responsibility or accountability? The motivation for a 28th Amendment will come from individual citizens like you and me who are deeply concerned about these problems in our democracy. We'll band together in organized groups with support from American Promise and likewise organizations. The persistence will come because we'll continue to be frustrated in our effort to solve big problems. But we will also persist because we'll see that being organized in a cross-partisan way will be influential. You know, why do we think that corporations only need to answer to their shareholders and can use unlimited money to support politicians and issues important to their bottom lines? Corporations aren't people. We are people, and as people, collectively and through government, we must establish and change the rules.
All right.